journey, I wanted to just share a story. My journey started particularly because I was someone, I was asked this very question by somebody I met in a group discussion. So we were a group of people who were meeting for the first time. It was supposed to be for our college orientation. And during that conversation, we were asked to get to know each other. And I was with this person who basically asked me this question: are you religious? I particularly was not I'm not a very religious person, but so I told her that I believe in spiritualism and I believe that Mother Nature is God. I don't believe in this entity called God. I believe that everything around me is a representation and a manifestation of God. And so then she asked me, so how do you practice this? Like, yes, every religion has its own practices. So how do you practice this religion, or what you feel is a spiritual lifestyle? And that got me thinking. And then I kind of, when I didn't have an answer at that point of time, but I think somewhere along the line, that question deeply impacted me, so much so that I started trying to find an answer for myself. What is it that I'm doing to protect nature, who I consider as a god? Because over the next course of years, I had several encounters where the question kept coming back to me: what am I doing to protect nature? Right? The first instance was this. Again, in fast forward 2 years in my college, I had one person come and give a talk about photo that he took that deeply impacted his life. This was this particular photo, a photo of an albatross chick. And this is a bird that is quite big in nature. So the chick is also quite big. And what really happened is that these birds, they live in an island where there is no human interaction. This is very close to the Pacific Ocean. So almost all of you are aware of the Pacific Great Garbage Patch. So what the bird would do, the bigger mother bird would do, is pick up plastic waste that smelled like food, or it had a strong scent of food, and it would mistake it for food, and it would feed its chick these plastic waste. And eventually the chick would die because the entire body would get blocked of the waste that it is ingesting. And when they start decaying, you can see the litter of plastic that is still left around. This particular person who went to this island to document the life cycle of an albatross bird found this, and he documented this, and he found it extremely disturbing. And he talked about it, and he talked about how that changed his perception of waste and his lifestyle, and how he made him want to create more awareness about waste, especially plastic waste, and help people reduce or handle waste more responsibly. Right? And that conversation really impacted me. That talk really impacted me, and kind of gave me an idea as to, if I really consider nature as God, then maybe I should also do something about it, because something where what we are doing is really harming it. Right? Going forward, I came back to India and I joined Indiahikes, a trekking organization where we do treks, or we conduct treks in the Himalayas. And if you come on any one of our treks, this is the kind of visuals that you will see. This is the kind of terrain that you will trek in. Pretty amazing. I mean, imagine walking on fresh grass, very, very thick forest, and getting to see the beautiful mountains of our Himalayas, the upper ranges of Himalayas. Here you're seeing Chokamba, which is the four-peaked hill, the mountain, which is steeped in mystery and mythology. This is where we believe Parvati and Shiva live and continue to live and protect India, right? So this is the kind of settings that we trek in, very, very remote. To just even reach this place, you will have to travel for 4 days, and then 2 days, and trek another 2 days to reach this place from where this photo was taken. And this is the kind of village from where you start your trek. And this is what you find there. And I was so shocked. I mean, even this most remote part of India, we are not left without the problem of waste. It follows us everywhere. It is very, very predominant everywhere. And it kind of again kept coming back to me. What am I doing to stop this? What am I doing to make sure that this doesn't happen? So much so that as part of my work, we really did a lot of cleanup. We made sure that we will clean all of this waste and bring it down. But this is where all of that waste ended up, again in a landfill, polluting the space forever and ever. So even cleanups, taking care of waste, shifting it from one place to another didn't seem like it is solving the problem of waste. It is in fact hiding the problem of waste from us, from all of us. And so much so that this is one of the people I met in the landfill when I brought down my waste, so that we collected from our trek. And her story was very, very heartbreaking, in the sense that the amount of effort that she goes to, the amount of waste that she has to go through to pick something that can give her a livelihood is just heartbreaking. So much so that it really made me reconsider how I was going about my life. And that is how I made this radical shift, or wanted to start this journey where I wanted to make my life a very good representation of how I would want others to live. I really wanted to do my part for nature that I really worshipped, and that's how I started my journey on zero waste lifestyle. Now I've been on this journey for 5 years. I am not perfect. I'm still not there where I can reduce my waste and say, you know what, it fits within this jar. But I've significantly been able to reduce my waste over time, right? And today I just thought I'll share a few of the lessons that I kind of learned along the way. So the first lesson I wanted to share with all of you is to start by focusing on small steps, and which can give you the biggest gains. For a lot of us, going zero waste might seem like a daunting task. If we just go and look at our home dustbin, you will realize that every day we produce so much amount of waste. How do you reduce it to zero immediately? That's not going to happen immediately. That's not something practical. That is not something that is feasible. So your goal, or at least my goal, was to focus on things that I felt, okay, if I do this small step, I think I can achieve a huge gain in terms of reducing my waste. So what are those steps? So the first step is composting at home. One of the things that I think I realized when I wanted to start my journey of zero waste is that predominantly almost 60% of the waste, 60 to 80% of the waste that we generate in our home on a daily basis is organic waste. This is if you're cooking your own food, right? So a lot of this waste, usually we mix it with inorganic waste, the plastic waste, and we send it out. And that makes it a big problem. Why? Because organic waste and inorganic waste, when they combine, it's a recipe for disaster. Because you're not going to let the organic waste decompose. It is going to decompose anaerobically, which means it's going to produce methane, which means that you are harming the environment by sending out your organic waste mixed with the inorganic waste. What you're also doing is that you're polluting or you're dirtying the inorganic waste, so you cannot recycle what is possibly can be recycled. So even the inorganic waste then becomes something hard and something that you cannot deal with. So being able to compost at home is one of the most simplest yet the most biggest way you can contribute in reducing your waste. So even if you're not able to do anything, if you just do composting at home, you would have significantly reduced your contribution of waste in the society, or that you're going to be sending out. How do you do composting? I think that's something that you can always go and learn. I have lots of resources in my Instagram page. You can always contact me. I will share you with more details. But I would strongly recommend, if you want to start on a zero waste journey, composting is the first place to start, right? The next is actually trying to focus on your packaging waste. A lot of the second biggest chunk of waste that comes into our household is packaging waste. This is your plastic bags, plastic covers, plastic things that we usually bring with our groceries. And if you look at it predominantly, if you look at this graph, the biggest percentage of waste, plastic waste, comes from packaging. And you can see the amount of waste that is generated because of packaging. You will see the significant impact you can have by just not generating the packaging waste. So taking your own cloth bags, taking your own dabbas to buy your own groceries from your neighborhood grocery store can go a long way in reducing your plastic waste. Of course, you cannot replace everything at one go, but even the biggest ones, for example, getting your dal in loose, getting your rice in loose, sugar, almost every other grocery in loose can go a long way in reducing your own waste. Third, this is the most significant, another significant step that almost all women can take is switch to something, a sustainable menstrual product. For example, instead of using pads or tampons, use a cloth pad or use a menstrual cup. Or recently I've heard that there are period panties, which does not even require a pad or a cloth pad or a menstrual cup. These are solutions that are already available. They are extremely comfortable. Just by making the switch, you would avoid 9,000 pads from reaching a landfill in your lifetime. Imagine that one woman produces about 9,000 pads or tampons in their lifetime, right? That's a huge amount of waste that we will reduce just by making this switch. And again, they are extremely comfortable, extremely liberating, and extremely comfortable to use. I was actually traveling to Kashmir in 2016, and in 2016, during our trek season, there was this incident where one of the local person, a very high political figure, was assassinated. Because of the assassination, we entered a curfew, and because of the curfew, all the shops were closed. I could not move anywhere outside. I was basically stuck in a location where I could not move anywhere. And even the essentials was very hard to get. And during that time, it was the menstrual cup and the cloth pad that came to actually save me, because it was really hard to find pads during that time. And I was just counting my blessings as to how difficult it would have been if I really did not have this in my hand. So in terms of even outside consideration of sustainability, I feel menstrual cups and cloth pads are a great way to make you feel more liberated and make you feel more empowered, because you don't have to rely on having to find the right pad at the right time and almost at anywhere. So it's a great thing to be able to have with you at all times. And fourth is always carrying with you a sustainability kit. Have your own dabba, have your own water bottle, your own spoon, your own fork, have a own cup, carry some cloth bags. All of this will ensure that at any point of time, you don't have to rely on a single-use plastic or a single-use biodegradable product to be able to do anything. Because many a times we step outside, we go to a shop and they give you something to eat in a paper cup, or they give it to you in a plastic plate. You can always say no by just giving your dabba to them. It's a great way to reduce all the waste that you usually tend to generate because of this. So carrying your own sustainability kit, this is something that is always there in my backpack, always there with me. Just goes a great way to reduce the waste that you're going to get. Just following these 4 steps, you can almost reduce 80% of your waste that you will generate. And that's huge, right? Just practicing these simple steps can give you just huge gains. Now, second, all of us always think that recycling is a solution. Like I can, instead of getting a plastic wrapper, let me get a plastic bottle because they are recyclable. Or I will get it in cardboard because they are recyclable. But often I did an extensive study of different materials, and I wanted to understand what exactly is the percentage of waste that gets recycled, and do they even get recycled? And predominantly the answer that I found was that almost every different kind of product, it doesn't get recycled. 9 to only 10% of recyclable products across the world gets recycled. And so it is if you try to get something thinking that it is recyclable, I will send it off to recycling, then it is very likely that they don't end up getting recycled. So always understand that recycling is not the solution. So third lesson I learned is that not everything is what it seems. So when I started on this journey, I would always think, okay, instead of plastic bags, let me try to go for paper bags. It is much better for the environment. But then what I realized over time is that plastic bags if it takes X amount of energy to make the plastic bag, X amount of water to make the plastic bag, to generate a plastic bag, paper bag, you need 10 times more energy, 10 times more water. So you're actually you're generating more waste indirectly by opting for a paper bag rather than a plastic bag. So always, never go for a single-use item, whether it is paper, whether it is biodegradable, or whether it is a plastic bag, right? So that was a lesson that I learned during this journey. Same goes for a cotton bag. We always tend to get more cotton bags, but always not realizing that far more energy is spent to generate a cotton bag, much more. Like, there was one study that said that you need to use that cotton bag almost like 12,000 times to be able to compensate for the energy that is used to produce one plastic bag. So that is the amount of energy that goes into creating cotton bag, or the water that goes to create a cotton bag. So use it judiciously. Take one cotton bag, keep it with you always, and use that for a lifetime as much as possible, right? The third lesson, another thing I realized is that these are the recent ones that kind of look like a cloth bag, but I realized that they are not actually cloth bags, they're actually plastic bags. They're just a different material of a plastic. So even kind of realizing this is important, because then you will be aware and not get them, or you will say no to them when you are going to do your purchases. And fourth, always, something that looks like a paper cup is not always fully a paper cup. It always has a plastic line inside it. So anytime you opt for a paper bag or a paper cup, thinking that it is more environmentally friendly, you are actually generating a lot more waste, because it also has hidden plastic inside them, right? That brings me to the fourth lesson. So having realized all of this, my biggest lesson was that big part of going zero waste is actually in reducing the consumption, or in generating waste, not in managing my waste. There are two aspects of it. Like, you generate waste and you try to manage your waste effectively, or you try to reduce the waste that you generate. And what I realized over time is that going zero waste is all about reducing the waste at source. So what are the ways in which you can do that? The first thing I realized is that you don't need a lot of things. For a lot of things, one thing can serve multi-purpose. For example, I create my own bioenzyme, which is made out of citrus peels. So I make a vinegar solution out of the citrus peel, and that I use for cleaning my entire house. I use it to wash my clothes, I use it to wash my dishes, I use it to wash my floor. So one thing, multiple purposes, and that serves a very great purpose. Similarly, I kind of switched to using oil for moisturizer. So I don't need a body wash, I don't need a body moisturizer, I don't need anything else. I just use simple coconut oil for everything. For moisturizing my hair, my face, my body, everything. So simplifying your needs was something that I realized was very important in this journey. Second is the bioenzyme. I use whatever waste I generate in my kitchen, all the citrus peels I use to generate bioenzyme, which I use for cleaning everything, right from windows to dishes to my clothes to the floor. Everything I clean out of the vinegar that I generate out of this. And vinegar is a beautiful cleaning agent. It's a mild acid. It does the wonderful job of killing all the harmful bacteria that you require, and makes sure that it is extremely effective. And along with baking soda, it's a powerful combination to make sure that you can clean almost anything in your home. You don't need anything else. You don't need a separate Harpic for washing your toilet and separate floor cleaner. You don't need a separate dishwasher. You don't need a separate laundry agent. You can just use one solution for everything, right? I also realized that almost everything you can buy secondhand, like the mixie, from the cooker to clothes, almost everything you can buy secondhand. Everything in my house is actually secondhand. I have stopped purchasing anything and everything since the last 4 years, and all of them have done beautifully. I think I just don't understand how people can just give away stuff that are still extremely good to use. So right from my fridge to my bed to my chairs, everything is secondhand. There are plenty of online platforms where you can get these things second-hand, and of course a very really good quality. Even my phone is second-hand. Like my friends, whenever they get a new phone, I tell them, why don't you just give your old phone to me? I will make sure that I will make sure that it is used for life, right? So even the phone I use right now, it's second-hand. This is the one that I got from my boss. He had this old phone for almost 2 years. He switched to a new phone. I said, okay, give your other phone to me. So thrift shopping, like Neha puts it, it's really, really rewarding. You will find the most beautiful variety. There is no dearth for quality. So it's a very great way to be able to reduce your consumption very easily. Another lesson I learned during this time is to take help. In a lot of ways, trying to do all of this by yourself, like trying to create bioenzyme yourself all the time, trying to make your own soap, can be very daunting. So what I do is I do go out. There are many companies, many stores, many organizations that have come up who want to promote this lifestyle, who want to make it easy to live this lifestyle. So there is a shop in Chennai, Eco Indian, that I found out, where they will supply groceries, everything at home, to your home, zero waste. There are Centora is a place where I get my shampoo bars. It's the best shampoo bar. It works wonderfully, and it is vegan. It is zero waste. So you have lots of places where you can actually get stuff, so that you don't have to make your life inconvenient by going into a zero waste lifestyle. Because a lot of times we associate going or adopting a zero waste lifestyle perhaps means inconveniencing yourself, but I think with all of these options available, it doesn't have to be the case. So there are plenty of resources. Again, there are lots of resources available. You can ask me. I can definitely point you towards the right direction. And the next lesson that I learned during this journey is to put your money where it matters. Of course, if you look at it, these might, if you compare it with another, something that you might find in your store outside, they might be a little expensive. But I feel it is okay to give that expense, because at the end of the day, they are doing much more good to the environment, and they need that support. They need to be able to scale to be more, to reduce their cost. And until that time, they need that support from people who feel that this matters and it is important. So if you can afford it, make sure that you pay for it. Next lesson is that this is not a perfect journey. I think recently I shifted my house, and during the shift, I ended up generating a lot more waste than I intended, because they had to pack all of the electronic items in plastic wrapper, bubble wrapping, things that I did not imagine they would do, but they did. But that ended up generating quite a bit of waste. So it happens. It is okay. It is not a matter of trying to always fit your waste into the jar. It's a matter of trying to say, how much can I get from the waste that I'm generating? How much can I reduce, and how much can I not put pressure on the earth by my existence? So I think it is a journey. It is meant to be taken step by step. 5 years down the line, I still consider that it's a journey I still have to master. And so there is no perfectionism in this. So wherever you are, whatever you're trying to do, as long as you keep yourself motivated and you take one step at a time, I think it's a journey that is extremely worthwhile. Also, when you consider that, you know what, okay, whatever you're doing, the impact that it creates, because every plastic that you are not sending out or you are not generating, it is something that you have done or you have contributed for the environment, for the nature. And I think that is the biggest reward that I think you should try to go out for. And whenever I see that, okay, I have not generated my, whenever I see a fresh compost, whenever I see that my dustbin does not have anything in it, it just makes me so much happy, like so happy that it makes my day. So I think you will also feel that as you start this journey. It's very addictive. It's also very, very worthwhile. So do start wherever you can and do whatever you can. And most importantly, pass it on. I mean, it's I think everywhere around us, we do keep getting that message that buy more, that is what is important and that is what is required. But I feel you can still live a very meaningful life. You can still help the economy. You can still grow the economy but by not having to invest in a lot of material things. But that message is not something that is often spoken or not really imbibed or not really practiced strongly. So I feel when you do it, talk about it, be an influencer, do your part in making sure that others around you also understand where you come from and what you're doing and why you are doing it. That will inspire many people to just take that little step, which is what you want everyone to do. So I think that's about it. I think these are the lessons that I have learned over this journey of following and practicing a zero waste lifestyle. And it has been, as I mentioned, a very rewarding journey. It is something that I really passionately follow, and I passionately want others to follow. So anything at any point of time, resources that you need, that you want to learn about, I have lots of resources already summarized. So you can always get in touch with me. I am available on Instagram. I'm available on my email. You can always get in touch with me. I'll be able to help you carry on this journey forward. So thank you for listening to me and my journey.
It was a very wonderfully put presentation, and I'm sure all of us took a lot of it. Now, I would like to
Thank you.
request all those who are there in the audience, if you have any questions for ma'am, please put your tap in the chat box. And now I would like to hand it over to Jayasri, who I think has prepared some questions for you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, I have some questions. So, according to you, during this pandemic, there is a lot of medicinal waste generated. So, according to you, what is the efficient process for discarding them safely?
The best way to do this is to give it to a doctor or a clinic. Usually the clinic, any clinic or any hospital, they are associated with a biomedical waste accumulator and incinerator. The biomedical waste has to be incinerated. Many a times we actually do harm when you have a medicine or when you have an injection and you throw it or you mix it with your normal waste pile and you send it out. They reach the landfill, and in a lot of times it actually can be harmful for people who are walking around, because it can actually cross infect them. So this is medicinal waste is something that we should be extremely careful about. So any hospital nearby, they always have their own separate bags specifically for medicinal waste or biomedical waste. You can just request them to add your waste to their pile, and usually they are associated with a biomedical waste collector and incinerator. So they will take it and they will incinerate it. So that should take care of the loop.
And vegan food become more popular. Like, how much time do you think it would take for everyone to shift into it completely? And do you recommend veganism?
Personally, I don't know how long it will take. I do see that it has become much more popular. I mean, to be very honest, I think I was very surprised to see that in my organization where I work, almost right now 50% of our direct leaders are now vegan, which is a very surprise shift that I am noticing. A lot of them have actually turned vegetarian also. Yes, so it is a very happy shift that I am seeing. Do I I feel everyone should turn a vegan? Of course I do. I definitely recommend everyone to adopt a vegan lifestyle. Primarily because of this, I think animal suffering, more not from an environmental point of view. My reason to shift into or become a vegan came purely from the fact that I did not want any animal to go through any suffering for my needs. Things that I can very much live without. I mean, I can have or even meat, and I can still survive, and I can still have a very good food, very nutritious food, very tasty food. So I didn't find the need to put animal through that much amount of suffering to for me to. So from that same thought, I would definitely encourage everyone to try veganism. Another thing, another byproduct I noticed was that it changed my health. It came under control. Body responded very differently. Like I used to exercise quite a lot, and it would take me almost 3-4 days to recover from one workout. Then after I turned vegan, think within a day, my recovery was a lot more stronger. So even in terms of my own personal physical health, I think it has become much, much better to be able to adopt and continue to lead a vegan lifestyle. Yeah.
And how can we tackle the extensive use of single-use plastic water bottles?
You mean water bottles?
Yes, ma'am. Water bottles, like single-use plastic water bottles.
I think they're the biggest farce. If you ask me, I wouldn't recommend you to use a water bottle at all. In fact, these water bottles are very thin plastic. Over time, when they're exposed to sunlight, a lot of these bottles are kept out in the sunlight. What really happens is that the plastic reacts to the UV rays that interacts with the plastic, and in a way, it starts leaching the polymer molecules into your water. And that's why if you actually take a water bottle that is kept outside in the sun for quite some time and you drink the water, you will see a very distinctive change in taste of that water. I don't know if many of you have noticed it, but I think it's a very common thing that you will find in your water bottle. So I would say don't ever go for this water bottle. I mean, it doesn't really ensure that kind of quality that they promise. It doesn't necessarily always is a good alternative. Carry your own water bottle with you always. Carry water from your home. And at any place, I've always asked for refills, and people have always been happy to refill my water bottles wherever I have gone. There is hardly a place where I had to go and buy a water bottle because I couldn't find availability of water. So I think always carry your water bottle. I think that's the best thing to do.
Ma'am, like zero waste lifestyle can be really intimidating. Like, how do you recommend people to start it?
I would say start with just composting. I think that's the best do. It's a very simple thing. The setting up of it maybe takes some time, but once you set it up, it is really nothing much to do. All you need to do is collect your organic waste and put it in your compost bin and cover it with, for example, maybe sawdust. That's all you need to do, and it's very, very rewarding. So maybe start with composting. Second is carry your own sustainability kit. I think that's again a very simple thing. You just have to make that sustainability kit once, and you can just carry it with you wherever you go. And I think that again will take care of a lot of your waste from being generated. I think these smaller steps, once you start, you yourself will try to find more about, okay, what can I do now? What is my next step? So start somewhere. I think start on that one thing that you feel is something that you can do right now.
Certain companies are now selling lesser components with their smartphones in the context of going green. Is that really helpful?
I totally agree with you. Something that I am finding extremely painful. Like, for example, I broke my screen. The photo of the phone that I had, the screen broke. And when I actually went to get it repaired, they said I have to pay 10,000 rupees to get the screen repaired. And then I'm thinking, okay, wow, that doesn't make sense. Very financially, it doesn't make sense. So I would say, as much as you can, use your entire phone for the entirety of the lifestyle. So an average phone, the lifespan is 4 years. So before you even consider buying a new phone, as long as you're able to keep it for 4 years, I think you've done your part. Beyond that, finding replacements is getting harder. But I also feel there are other organizations which are trying to solve this problem. There is an organization in Europe that is selling phone that is made out of modules. So you can always take a module out, and you can, when it gets broken, you can replace it with another module. I'm sure pretty much in a fair amount of time, you will have something very similar in India also. When it does go, I think support that organization, I would say. Yeah.
And nowadays, eco bricks are becoming as popular talk. Like, how can everyone turn to make and use?
I think EcoBricks is a very, very simple thing to make. It is very easy. What I do actually to make an EcoBrick is I put it where the dustbin is. Like, so right next to the dustbin, I keep the bottle right there. So whenever somebody generates a soft plastic waste, so essentially an EcoBrick is you take a plastic bottle, okay, not this one, but the plastic bottle that comes where you use for water. Take that bottle and you stuff it with soft plastic waste that you cannot recycle. So what you can do is you can keep that right next to your dustbin, the bigger dustbin. So whenever somebody generates a soft plastic, all they need to do is go in and put it in the bottle instead of putting it in the dustbin, right? It will take its own time. It takes about, you need to be able to have, for a 1 liter bottle, you need to be able to stuff in 330 grams of plastic waste. That is when it becomes a proper bottle drink, right? So it means that it will take almost a month to get that bottle filled. So just leave the bottle there. Whenever you generate waste, make sure that somebody puts it there and they stuff it in. Then it takes its own time, but that's a very good way of actually making sure that your non-recyclable waste doesn't get outside, but is trapped inside a bottle that you can use to make something out of it. So it's easy to make. Again, there are lots of resources available. I can direct you towards that, and you can start at your home. Yes.
How can we ensure that recyclable products are reused or recycled after their intended use? Like, are there any organizations in India which help us make this task easier?
Yes, so I think there are lots of organizations that have now come up which serve as an intermediate person between people who generate waste as well as people who recycle waste. The Kabadiwala network. So there are lots of organizations. For example, in Bangalore, I know there are several organizations, several websites where you can just go and just 1 second. My dog is just being very restless. Yeah. So there are several organizations where you can essentially just say online that you have this much amount of waste that you want to give away. They will take it and they will give it to the Kabadiwalas, or they will directly take it to the recycling facility. Another thing I noticed is that there are lots of Kabadiwalas near our homes. Like, for example, just around my home, there are about 10-15 Kabadiwalas who collect waste. What I do is I just go and ask them, I talk to them, where do they take it, what do they do with the waste? Eventually, you will also understand that most of the cardboard waste gets directly sent to a recycling facility very close by. So then you can trust them and actually give them your cardboard waste. Perhaps glass waste, I realized, is not something that is taken right now because it doesn't have any resale value. So that is something that I've kept for now. I'm also trying not to generate more glass waste, primarily because it is not something that is getting recycled. So just having a conversation with your Kabadiwala will tell you what exactly is actually getting recycled, what is not getting recycled. Because many times, even though the material is recyclable, it is not financially viable or economically viable for somebody to recycle it, and because of that, it doesn't get recycled. So just having a conversation with your Kabadiwala close by will give you a lot of insight.
Now I'd like to hand over to Anna.
Ma'am, we have one more question to you. Nowadays,
Yes.
eco breaks were becoming as popular talk. How can everyone turn to make it and use?
So I just spoke about it. So the eco bricks are really good resource to pack your soft plastic waste. All you need to do is keep it right next to your dustbin. Use a 1 liter bottle. Make sure that it is within 1 liter bottle, you stuff in at least 330 grams of waste. That is when it becomes an eco brick. You need to kind of stuff it in so that there is no air left within that bottle. So all you need to do, it will take a long time. 330 grams of soft plastic waste means a lot of waste. So just leave it and ensure that everyone who generates a soft plastic waste, it is cleaned and then put inside the bottle brick. And you leave it for some time, and I think over time you will be able to generate your own eco brick to completion. Somebody asked about Climate Reality. So Climate Reality is an organization that was started by ex-Vice President of US, Al Gore. So he basically creates, it's a training program where they kind of teach you or train you to be a climate reality leader. So every year they conduct training programs, and this year it is happening online. So you just have to go to their website and look at their next training schedule, and you can register yourself as a climate reality leader, and you can attend the training program. And after you attend the training program, they will give you all the tools to actually go and talk about climate change with everyone around you. So it is a platform where they want to create awareness about climate change, and by doing so, make people take action towards climate change. So all of you can be climate reality leaders. I would definitely recommend that you try doing this, or try this by visiting their website and actually getting to learn more about them. Let me just try and get you the. So this is the link. You can directly go in, and I think they'll give you all the details about the when the training program also happens. I think if I'm not wrong, it is happening recent. It started very recently. So I think you can try and register and see if you can also register as one of the to become one of the leaders. So another link. This main link is the first link is for the Indian club. The second link is for the World Club, where they announce the training program. So you can go there, register yourself, and you should be able to know when the next training program is.
That was enlightening, ma'am. Let's move on to the next question. How can we educate the rural area people in waste management, as they were also used to it so much?
Right. I think there are two things to this question. First is, rural area does not necessarily create a lot of waste. I mean, yes, they do create a lot of non-recyclable waste, but the percentage of waste urban population creates is a lot more. So I feel if we learn what it means to reduce our own waste, I think it will become easier to translate that knowledge across to a rural population. Second, I feel it is also very important to understand for them if there might not be a lot of choice in exercising or being able to practice a zero waste lifestyle, wherein it is a lot more easier for an urban population to do that. So I think we as urban population will have to take charge first, and then kind of translate that knowledge across to the people in the rural population. That would be my take on this.
Okay, ma'am. Last question. If vegan food becomes more popular, how much time it would take everyone to shift into it completely?
I think it's a question that you can ask yourself. I mean, if you feel confident that you can start, you can adopt a vegan lifestyle, I think that's where the question is. If every one of us are ready to understand the impacts and the benefits that vegan lifestyle has, I think we can start right now because there is nothing really stopping us from accessing vegan food. I think especially again in urban areas, almost every city that I know of has plenty of vegan alternatives for every possible thing that you can think of. Like I just tasted a cake that tasted almost as good as, or almost as it would taste if there was proper cream in it, proper butter in it. So for me, I think the options are all out there. So it's just a matter of us taking that effort and taking that conscious choice to say, you know what, I think I don't want to be a part of causing animal suffering in any capacity or in any form. And I think once we make that decision, I think this next step would be a lot more easy to make it happen.
Ma'am, now I would like to present the VOT. What an eye-opening session that was. I'm very confident that we all are learned something valuable and how to be better citizens of our planet and take better care of it. On behalf of the VIT LEO Club and the audience, I would like to sincerely extend my gratitude to you, ma'am, for this amazing session. Thank you very much for sparing us your valuable time and enriching our day.
Thank you very much for having me. I really hope that you will go back and you will start something that will reduce your own waste. And if you do, please do get in touch with me and share your journey. I would be really happy to. No, thanks.
We will keep that quote of yours in mind, that it is not that you have to go from zero to hero. You can start from a level and compare that you have to be better than what you were yesterday. But I think that is what everyone has learned and will try to put into work. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.